Hello, good evening. I am here for a Saturday night live stream. I know it's been a while since I've been here. And in fact, I was actually supposed to be camping up at the farm this weekend, to do a farm vlog and to get on with the pond restoration project and all of that. But only a week after Storm Ophelia came to the UK, we are hit by Storm Brian, and we made an executive decision that staying in a tent when the wind miles per hour are 70 miles per hour probably wasn't a good idea. Neither, I should add, would be cutting down trees when the wind gusts are 70 miles an hour. So we made an executive decision, no camping this weekend. And so I thought, well, I haven't done a live stream for a while, so I would chat and kind of meet up with you guys and just have a chilled night in. And I've got my cup of tea, as always. This time it's a froggy cup. So what we'll do is we will run through just a few updates. I have props. Look, I have props this week. I'll give you a sneak peek. Props. So I'll give you a little update of things that are going on, and then we'll just move to the sort of the ordinary, the chat and the Q&A and things like that. If you're watching on the replay, hit the bell notification, and then every time I'm live in the future, you'll get a little notification so you can pop in and come and chat. So that's the welcome. If you're here already, thank you for stopping by, and we will get to the Q&A very shortly. So just going over the past couple of weeks and a couple of the videos I uploaded. Obviously, last week I did the rooster upload, and we did the sleep boxes, and that was actually requested by my patron Hilltop Farm Homestead. That's right, I always get that wrong. Hilltop Farm Homestead. They requested a little video on the sleep boxes that I use. And if you've got roosters and you're in an urban environment, it is really, really helpful. It's not a 100% guarantee. This morning, I think Eddie Icksworth did actually crow around 6 a.m. But then he shut up again for another, hour before he woke up at 7:30. So it's a lot better than them waking up at like 4 a.m. in the morning. So if you're looking for ways to keep your roosters quiet, definitely try that. And then I went to the poultry show last Saturday. Now, I've been to tons of poultry auctions before, which is great. But this was my first ever show where, the cards get put up and people are winning first and second and best in show. Now, it was a tiny little show. It was nothing like the National where there are, thousands of people, but it was really, really good actually. It was like 45 minutes down the road. I didn't really know what was going on. When I got there, nobody else really knew what was going on. The judging got waylaid. But I went in, I've done a little video, so check it out. It's it's the Suffolk and Essex Poultry Show. And I just go around some of my favourite chickens. So there's some Silkies there, some Barber Danvers, some beautiful, beautiful ducks and hens. So check that out. What else did we do? Then this week, there was no Monday Magic because on Monday I actually went to the Natural History Museum to catch up with the new exhibit. So if you don't know, London Museum used to have a dinosaur skeleton in its atrium, and they announced they were going to get rid of it. And there was quite a big uproar. But Dippy the dinosaur has been replaced by a blue whale skeleton hung from the ceiling. And I was a bit dubious about it too, but then I discovered Dippy the dinosaur wasn't even real dinosaur bones, and Dippy the dinosaur, those they were sort of calcified made up bones out of plaster and stuff. They weren't even bits from the same dinosaur. So Dippy's gone, the whale has come in. The whale looks magnificent, so if you are ever in London and you can get to go to the Natural History Museum, go, because what they have done in that atrium now is absolutely beautiful. So that was why there was no Monday Magic, because I spent basically all afternoon with my husband, walking around taxidermy, just going a bit goo goo gaga. I'm loving everything. And then there was no chicken check-in on Wednesday because I need you. I need more chicken check-in people. So if you have got chickens that you want to show off, the chicken check-in formula is you show off your 3 favourite chickens. You can film it all on an iPhone or a Samsung or anything. I do all of my videos on a Samsung S7. I don't have a fancy camera or anything, it's just on the phone. And even if you don't know how to edit it together, you can also send me the clips and I will edit it together. So basically you pick out your 3 favourite chickens, you talk about their personalities, their names, why you got them, maybe they're just pets, that's fine. If they're not, why did you get that particular breed? Tell us all about it basically. So there will hopefully be more chicken check-ins in the future when I've got more people sending videos in. But it's not, the series has not ended, it is staying. And then obviously on Friday, so that would be yesterday, we just did a little ornamental flower bed tour as I'm kind of putting everything to bed out there now. The storm has flattened quite a bit and stuff's really, I mean, we are in November soon. A couple of weeks we'll be there and stuff is starting to die away. So I did a quick tour of what was going on outside. And then today has been about trees. So first, I went for a walk in a new country park that I'd never found before. And many of you know that I'm going to be planting up a nuttery at the farm. I'm using walnuts and sweet chestnuts and basically any nut tree that I can grow in a temperate region. So it does discount quite a lot of things. One of the things I do want to do is sweet chestnuts, and I haven't got around to buying any plants yet, but I was out in the forest. Look, I found a load of sweet chestnuts. So there were tons of sweet chestnut trees in this park. Now, you shouldn't really pilfer, but these were all over the floor. They were going to get swept up or trodden on, so I just rescued a few. So these are the actual seed pods. Very, very, very sharp. And then inside, beautiful, beautiful sweet chestnuts. So you can eat these, you can eat them raw, or you can roast them, cook them, you know, it's like chestnuts roasting on an open fire, as the old Christmas carol goes. So these I am hopefully, I've got, how many have I got? Let me show you. So I've got quite a few. I'm going to plant them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 9, and then I've obviously got those pods that I haven't opened yet. So I'm going to try and get some of these to germinate, and hopefully these little tiny seeds will turn into sweet chestnut trees that I can put up at the farm and we can grow on, which will be just pretty amazing. I always find it amazing that a tree can come from this, a huge tree. And then, as people know, if you're part of the Facebook, the Brimwood Farm Facebook community group, you'll know that I went to IKEA shopping for a bed. But I rarely go to IKEA without going through the plant section. Now, I was actually looking for plants for the bathroom because we have a horrible bathroom here. It's really, really outdated. It's falling apart. We don't have any money to do it up with. So our new plan is cover everything in plants. We're going to get trailing plants, Tradescantia, spider plants, stuff like that. We're going to attach them to the walls. And we're basically just going to try and cover all the walls, all the horrible old tiles with plants and just keep it really nice and humid and basically create a jungle bathroom. But they didn't really have any jungle plants in there, but they did have trees. And another thing that I do love a pine tree, and I want to do quite a bit of landscaping up at the farm. And they had these pine trees. So the first one is this. This is now I need to get this right. This is a white spruce. This is $4.95, which I think is still quite a good price. It's a good sized pot. So it's Picea glauca. Now can I get that in focus out of the light? Probably not. But it's from IKEA. It's Picea glauca. I'll put a on the replay. I'll put a card up. So this will turn into a white spruce. $4.95. And then these. I mean, this is a tiny, cute little tree. But this is now. How am I going to say this? Camisai Paris thydioides. Something. Basically, it's a white cedar. These are 95p. For a tree. I mean, yeah, it's going to take a while to mature. But for 95p, I couldn't pass it by. I've got 3 of them. These turn into beautiful spruce trees, kind of the typical triangular size with, they start with the big boughs at the bottom and they kind of go up and they're very, very decorative. These grow into your typical tall, windy pine tree that, it's hit by the wind and it deforms the trunk and it just looks really architectural and ethereal and beautiful. So I've got 3 of these for 95p. I might even go back and get some more. I also think I'm going to mention the naughty word, Christmas. Christmas is not far away. And I do love a living Christmas decoration. So if you want to do kind of a Christmas feature or something, you could easily get just some little pine trees, 95p, make up a little, you could festoon it with glittery baubles and stuff if you really wanted to go gaudy, or you could get I don't know, 3 of these maybe, plant them up in a nice wide bowl, cover the top with some pebbles, put maybe a bit of sprinkling of fake snow on the top, and just make a really, really pretty Christmas decoration for your table or whatever. And then at the end of the season, obviously, they can go back outside. But I thought that was really, really good. So I'm going to go back and get some more. The other thing I did get in there, see, I can't leave IKEA without spending something, is this. Look, are you ready for this beast? I'm loving my props today. Da, 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 da. Look at that. This is like, look at the spines on this thing. So these are a bit more expensive. I think they were £8 for this kind of size, but they had all sorts of different kinds of cacti. This looks like it should be in the film Dune or something like that. But it's really cool. And it has lost half of its soil because I tipped it over in the back of the car, obviously. And I've just tipped some into my tea as well. So that's going to be interesting. But this is just like, I'm going to have to be careful when I move this around because these are, well, that one's not sharp, but these are sharp. These are really, really sharp. But look at that. Isn't that amazing? So yeah, so IKEA have got some really, really good parts. And then I have been told by somebody on my Facebook group, Alana, that Lidl apparently have some really, really good houseplants in tomorrow. So on a Sunday, if you're near a Lidl, go to Lidl on a Sunday, and you might find some houseplants. I'm going to go tomorrow because there is one up the road from me. So I'm going to see if I can go and buy some houseplants. And then the final prop that I want to show you before we get into just random chat is some microgreens, because I've had a bit of an epiphany with microgreens. I put them off for so long and I've been concentrating on trying to grow lettuces and salads outside, and I haven't had a vast amount of luck, and they're quite hard work. But look at this. These are a beautiful beetroot microgreen called Rioja. So it's a purple beetroot. You can see there's a few green bits in here. Let me put it right near the camera. But this is 5 days growth, perhaps. So I'm kind of starting to think now, why am I bothering growing tons of lettuces that, you know, you harvest the leaf each week, blah, 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 you shove it in the freezer, and inevitably some goes slushy in the bag. Why bother when you can just do microgreens? So I did sunflowers and radishes and amaranth last time, and this time I'm doing sunflowers, radishes, obviously, basil, and some pak choi. And I've been really, really impressed. And I will do a video on my setup because it's not one of the big microgreen setups that you often see on YouTube with, you know, they have whole massive LED lights around the room. This was really, really, really cheap. Again, stuff from IKEA, stuff cobbled together. But they don't need a vast amount of light because they're not growing for very long. These will literally, they're just starting to open. They'll probably grow for another 2 or 3 days, and then I will harvest the entire lot. So they've been really, really ace. I had some issues with mould to start with, and I had some issues with densities, but I think I've got my density about right with this. So I'm really, really happy with microgreens, and I'm really starting to think that it's the way forward for greenery. And they taste delicious. And why grow a whole beetroot, a whole radish, when you're just going to eat the little root bit, when actually you can just grow these, and they taste as radishy as a radish beet does. And they take 7 to 10 days to grow, and you can take a vast amount of them. And the other thing is, I thought they might go off in the fridge really, really quickly. They don't. I've had a bag I've mixed up some sunflowers and some radishes together in a bag. They've been in there for 5 or 6 days. They are still mega fresh, and I'm still eating them. So microgreens, definitely going to do those in the future. So if you've got any questions about microgreens, let me know. Come over to the community group on Facebook. It's called Brimwood Farms Community Page, and we can talk about microgreens. So let me see who's in here. I have seen a few people popping up. So hi Sarah G and PW, hello from the east coast of Canada. Lana, hi Alana, welcome. The whale skeleton is amazing. Yes, so Alana's saying, the whale skeleton is amazing. I took my kids there in August. It is incredible. As I said about this whale skeleton, I wasn't really sure about it. But now I've been, I know entirely why they did it. Because before, when you walked into the atrium, it was a bottleneck. Everybody stopped by the dinosaur. Oh, wow, dinosaur, yeah, pictures. But you didn't really see the rest of the hall, and it took the focus off the rest of the hall. Whereas now, you walk in and your eyes are drawn up towards this whale skeleton, and you actually see the atrium for all its beauty. It's Hints Hall, actually. I should be calling it Hints Hall. And it's absolutely stunning. And the architecture is amazing. And I think Dippy kind of took away from that because all eyes were on Dippy. But now you look at the whale and it just feels a lot bigger. And they've also put some amazing exhibits in the side bits. So normally, oh, there's Dippy. All the concentration was on Dippy. And then you'd look at the side little bits, a few skeleton bones and things like that. But now they've got some amazing stuff there as well. They had an incredible insect thing with beetles and butterflies. They've got a vast swordtail, a live wet specimen sunk in fluid, which is just incredible. They've got some flat plate seaweeds. They've got some really cool rock. It's honestly, it's brilliant. So I highly recommend going if you are in London, and it's free. Sarah G is saying, so she loves the Christmas tree, so don't put that on the window ledge, mine fell into my bed. Yeah, you wouldn't want that in your bed, although you'd probably want this less in the middle of the night falling onto you. But yeah, this Christmas tree, this one's really sharp actually. This spruce is really, really sharp. These needles are sharp. This is actually quite nice. This little cedar is quite soft. I wouldn't sleep on it, mind you, but it's quite soft. It's quite nice. Chicken Legs Production said, I noticed the Arabic writing on the wall behind you. Where are you from? Well, I'm from the UK. My husband is Canadian, but he was born in Saudi Arabia. So he is from sort of a Saudi Arabian background. So he's got a lot of the influences of Saudi Arabia in the Middle East. And we've got like an Arabic prayer plaque in the foyer and stuff like that, and I kind of like that whole meshing of decoration and techniques. So yeah, so that's the week really, and that's been what we've been up to, and I feel like I'm in a forest with all of these. I can't wait to see these develop, but the problem now is I've got to work out where on earth I want to put them, because they're going to grow into massive trees. So I've got to find a place at the farm where it's not in the middle of pasture. So it'll probably be around the pit area, I would think, because that area you can't use it for arable. We really can't use it for like big livestock. You know, there have been sheep down in the pit before. It's been used as a lambing shelter. But I would think we need to keep them away from any main structure in terms of pasture land, because otherwise you plonk a tree in the middle of a field and then you suddenly decide you need to drive a tractor up and down. It just becomes annoying. So yeah, but I can't wait to see them develop. And as I say, go and get them if you can. And if you're into succulents, definitely go and get some of these bad boys, because that's kind of cool as well. That's mega sharp. Mega sharp. So as always, if you've got any questions, just fire them at me and I'll see if I can answer them. Let me know what you've been up to. Hi Danielle, how are things with you? Thank you for stopping by. Sorry, I can't stop looking at this. It's kind of, you want to touch it, but you know you shouldn't. But yes, so if you've got any questions, please let me know, and I'll answer them as best I can. And I've just realised that actually so what this is actually called, it's actually a euphorbia. And I've just noticed that when you break off these spines, you know when you're pruning euphorbias, you know, your ornamental euphorbias outside, they let off that white sap, and it's quite sticky, and it can be quite an irritant. And I've just realised that actually on the top of these spines, if you break them, this white sap is also coming out. So Sarah G said, what age do bantams start laying? You got two, oh, I got two pekins a couple of weeks ago. Well, so bantams pretty much start laying the same sort of time as any ordinary chicken would. Because they're smaller, they can mature a little bit more quickly. But also bantams aren't known for their egg production. So whereas if you've got a high egg laying chicken, they may come into lay earlier on at a younger age. So I would say for bantams, between 6 and 8 months. My Polands, how early did my Polands start? I think one of my Polands started laying about 5 months, and then the others took a little bit longer. My Danvers have all taken 6 months to lay. I mean, I don't know how old your Pekins are. They should start laying fairly on. The nice thing is, if they're quite young now, you won't get that winter stop, because obviously older hens that have kind of been through the year laying, they've got into that seasonal capacity of laying, and then when winter hits, because they're older and because the egg laying's already started, they go with that natural seasonal fluctuation, so you'll find that the eggs will start to slow down. And I think today I've got 31 hens? 31 hens, I think, and I got 5 eggs today, so they've really slowed down. But with bantams, and as you're coming in, if they're young and you're coming into winter, they'll keep going, and they'll start their egg laying off now before the winter, and they'll just keep going, and you'll probably find that they'll go through the year laying, and then they'll start dropping off again next winter. So I hope that helps. 20-ish weeks. So what's that? My maths isn't very good. 4, 8, 12, so they're about 5 months. Yeah, so actually, if they're 5 months, you should probably start seeing an egg soon, in the next month or so, I would think. So Danielle just said, oh my God, that is not a Christmas tree. What is it? It isn't. I went to IKEA today, and I went to buy houseplants for the bathroom, and they had pine trees in. So technically, it is not a Christmas tree. It is a pine tree, which is also could be considered a Christmas tree, but I was just showing them off because I'm going to be using them up at my farm as landscaping in the future. But I did also say this is 95p in IKEA at the moment, and Christmas is only 6 weeks away. So if you wanted to make a nice, a nice table setting, a living sculpture, you could buy 2 or 3 of these, maybe get a nice wide bowl, bed them in, put a bit of fake snow across the top, maybe a couple of ornaments, a little reindeer or something. You can make a really nice festive thing. But, if you wait till Christmas to buy these things, they'll be a lot more expensive. I am one for planning and one for listing. So I bought 3 of these, so I may well do a Christmas kind of decoration with them. And then I'll obviously use them as landscaping. But I haven't put my Christmas tree up yet, I promise. I really am the sort to only put my Christmas tree up, on Christmas Eve. Although we tend to have a traditional Christmas party now every year, so I now have to put it up mid-December before the party. But that's not a Christmas tree that's going to be decorated. I promise you. I'm not doing Christmas in October. Never. So Sarah G says, my quails have stopped laying now and the Pekins are my first chickens. Yeah, my quails have stopped as well. My outside quails have stopped. My young quails that I've still got inside have just started to lay. I guess they're like your Pekins, because they're young, they're coming in to lay. But the daylight hours really affect quail more than they do chickens. And quails, my outside girls have shut up shop. And unless I bring them in and give them more daylight hours, they will not start laying again now till, I think it was March this year that I got my first egg again. Alana says, what age do chickens start roosting? All of mine are sleeping in one nest box at the moment. I can't remember how old yours are. I found with roosting, it often takes you going in there and putting them on the roost. My ex-battery hens, for example, had no idea what roosting was. They didn't know. So it wasn't until I went in at night and actually picked them up off the floor and popped them into a perch that they realised that's what they were supposed to do. My bantams all did it naturally. Some of my other chickens did it naturally, but I've got a couple of bantam crosses. Again, they just never figured it out. They just, sleep in a corner, which I don't particularly like, because A, they're on the floor, and if rodents get in, for example, they could be sniffing around there, which I don't like. But the main thing is, Chickens continue to poop. They might not eat or drink all night, but they continue to poop all night long. In fact, they poop quite a lot all night long, and if it's on the floor sitting, and they're going to sit in it. So I can't remember, as I said, I can't remember how old yours are, but I think they've got their full flight feathers and things, haven't they? If they're jumping up and about and they're kind of flapping here and there, I would start to pop them onto perches at night and just get them into the frame of mind that sleeping up is a good idea. Danielle says, I still got an egg yesterday from my quailies. You are so lucky, Danielle. Mine started laying probably March, April time after the winter, and I probably had my last egg outside mid-September. Yeah, probably mid-September. And so the only reason I've got quail eggs at the moment is because of my new girls upstairs. They're in a large rabbit crate. I do need to thin the numbers because I've got quite a lot of boys at the moment, so that probably will be tomorrow's job. We'll be putting some boys into the freezer. But, it's inevitable, and it gives the girls more space. So that's what I kind of counteract it with, the fact that the girls will have more space to run around. And they've been awful with their water, and I've managed to get them drinking out of a rabbit bottle. One of those, the rabbit drinkers with the little spout and the little ball in the bottom. So I've now managed to do away with the open pot of water in there, and all the quails just get their water from that little drinking bottle, which is brilliant because they were causing such a mess. Alana says, yeah, their nest box is very poopy. Yeah, chickens poop a lot at night. 2 of them got over a 6-foot fence the other day, so they're definitely capable of getting to the roost. yeah, okay, if they can fly over... Yeah, I remember you saying you lost a chicken, actually, yeah. So if they can get over 6-foot fences, they can roost. So I definitely would wait for them to go to bed and then just start lifting them onto the perches. And it would only take it might even take one night of doing that, but it would probably only take 1 or 2 nights for them to get the idea. And it only also takes 1 or 2 to get the idea to fly up themselves, and you will find a cascade effect and they will all start to go up. Actually, roosting time is one of my favourite times. I go down to the poultry yard every night to lock the girls in, and I do a count because my poultry yard isn't covered, so they could get out. And I have, unfortunately, in the past miscounted and I lost salt. I had salt and pepper with my 2 Morans, and I lost salt because I stupidly miscounted and left her out. But I love watching them perch. So I shut the door, I go in, I count them, and then I stand there and I count them as they fly up onto the perches. And they all have their little cliques. So certain hens will sleep in certain places with their friends. And people say chickens are stupid, and they really, really aren't. And I think I've said this before, chickens can... they can know up to and recognise up to 80 chicken faces. And chickens certainly, if you have a big group of them, they certainly have friends. Just with my flock of 20, my one cockerel, Skexis, he runs around all the hens. But the girls themselves, they have little cliques. And one will go and dust bath, and then her friends will come and dust bath. And then, bully hen will come in, and that whole cliquey group, they'll run off and go somewhere else. And they'll roost together at night, and I love it. So watch them when they're roosting as well, because it's really, really fun. Sarah G says, I'm thinking of adding 2 silkies to my flock. They are only 7-8 weeks old right now. How old is safe to keep them outdoors, or is it too late in the year now? I keep my silkies outside all year round, honestly. The main thing is you obviously need a coop with a dry and draft-free place. But I've had my silkies out in the snow. They're absolutely fine. Obviously, I'm talking UK, so I'm talking temperatures down to freezing, and I think the worst year that I had my silkies out was about -3 or -4. If you're somewhere like Canada, where it goes down to like -30, I would be tempted not to allow my chickens out in that weather. But over in the UK, all chickens, silkies included, you can let them out. The main thing with any birds that have got feathered feet is they can have problems. If it's been, if it's dry snow, it's fine. If it's really, really wet and cold, the feathers on their feet can get kind of covered in muck and encrusted up and icy, which obviously you don't want. So just be aware of that situation, but you can keep them outside all year round. I do with mine. None of them come in. And remember that they're wearing a feather coat, and the chicken the chicken body temperature is also higher than the human body temperature. So they're very hardy little things. Okay, yeah. So Devon should be fine. I would. I mean, 7-8 weeks out. Are they 7 weeks old? I guess, are they off heat yet? You obviously you need to do the acclimatization carefully, because if they're on heat at the moment because they're still quite young, you can't just shove them straight outside. Excuse me. But just I would acclimatize them slowly on warmer days, get them used to being outside. Okay, so they're off heat already. So that's great. So yeah, I would put them outside. They should be fine as long as you shut them away at night and make sure they've got a draft-free, dry place. There's no reason that you can't have them outside. Alana, I'm in Hertfordshire and I've got 5 weeks old outside. That's brilliant. I'm always well, Alana knows this as well, because in our Facebook group we've had this chat. We're always worried about putting chicks outside, and I know Alana and myself have been worriers, and we'll lie in bed and it's 2 a.m. in the morning and we're checking the temperature and we're thinking, oh, it's a bit cold, maybe those chicks aren't great, and so you run out and check on your chicks in your pajamas at 3 a.m. in the morning. But only once have I realised that I've put them out a bit too early and then had to bring them in, and you can tell it instantly because they all huddle together, whatever. If you pick them up and you can feel actual shivering, yeah, bring them in. But 5 weeks, and actually it's not that cold in the UK at the moment. We just had a weekend where it was like 20 degrees, so it's not that cold. So definitely chicks can be outside at the moment. Although I need to stop myself saying that, because then I might get tempted to put the incubator on. And very sadly, my friend, who I actually got Eddie Ixworth from, so Eddie is my Ixworth cockerel, she had a fox attack the other night. She has 3 or 4 alpacas, and they've done an amazing job over the past 3 or 4 years of being sentries. And she's lost a few chickens when they've strayed outside their free-ranging paddock. She's never actually had a fox attack, but 2 nights ago, I guess now, she had a fox attack, lost 31 hens and cockerels. She lost almost all of her Ixworth flock. And so that's what gets me onto the point. She hasn't got any Ixworth roosters left. She's only got some young Ixworth pullets. And so she's put a plea out for more Ixworth for a rooster. In the back of my brain, I'm thinking, oh, I've got hatching eggs outside. I've got incubators empty. Could I start growing her some replacements? But I'm not allowed. So I am going to grow her some replacements, but I'm going to wait. I'm probably going to put the first lot of eggs down on Christmas Day. And that will mean they will hatch out mid-January. And then, we'll have chicks ready that I can sex by January, February, March-ish. And hopefully give her a replacement. I know, Danielle, it is so sad, but you can't blame the foxes because it's their natural instinct. And I always think of this as just, you have to take it on yourself. You have to do as much as you can to safeguard it, because they're your responsibility keeping them safe. But fox attacks will happen eventually. As I said, I've not lost. But if a fox came in the daytime here, it could just come straight into my poultry yard and take the entire lot. But I can't net it. There's no way to put electric fencing around it. So there's either shut 20 hens in a big shed, or have the shed open and have them coming in and out and risk the fox attack. So I'm afraid I have to risk it. All my rare breed chickens, my toasted marshmallows, so Barry and his flock, my Danvers and Eddie and his flock are all in separate little coops, so they're all right. But yeah, the main laying flock, it is a bit of a worry. Alana's saying, yay, baby. Yeah, I know. Yay, babies. Sarah G. Only thing I worry about with these silkies is not being able to sex them. Cockerel, yeah. So young neighbours won't like cockerel and I get too attached. Yeah, I mean, I can normally sex a silky at 12 weeks, but they are notoriously hard. But I also find with silkies, they are very late crowers. So they can, you know, I only dispatched one of my male silkies the other day, and he was 6 months old, and he hadn't even started. No, that's a lie. He'd actually started crowing literally like 2 or 3 days before. But they start really late. I find they go for a long, long time before they hit puberty and start crowing. But I suppose in your instance, by then you'd be really, really attached. But if he's a good quality silkie, there's a good chance you could rehome him. The problem I had with Barry was not a good, because I was breeding Barry obviously for a white cockerel, and then he got toasty. But obviously he's now going to be the father of a whole new toasty line, so he got saved. But yeah, it can be really, really tough with cockerels, and I know this time of year is sort of cockerel coal time, because there are tons around, because unfortunately we can't hatch them out how we want with all girls. Although they don't go to waste here, because no matter the size, if they're little bantams, they get dispatched like quail, and if they're big cockerels, they get grown on like a cockerel would for the supermarket and then butchered that way. So got a frog in my throat. Is there any more questions from anybody? Alana's got me thinking about chicken babies now. I can't. I must see these hands. I must sit on these hands and not hatch out any more chickens. And I went to a poultry show was it a week ago? Crikey, the time goes fast. Yeah, only a week ago I went to a poultry show. There were so many beautiful chickens. There is a video, so if you go onto my channel page, you'll find the Suffolk and Essex Poultry Show video, and you can see these beautiful chickens. But they're just amazing. Oh, Alana, I'll have to take some photos of the silver lace winner dots. You will. Oh, I want winner dots so badly. And the silver lace ones are gorgeous, and the gold lace ones. And I saw someone the other day selling double gold lace. Is that a thing? They were gorgeous, absolutely stunning. And there was and back to that poultry show, there were just some amazing birds, and it just makes me want to hatch more and more and more and more and more and more and more. But I have no room, and I really have no room. And also, if I am in 2018 starting my rabbit project, I really can't get tons more chickens because I need space for the bunnies, and I also need space for the muscovies, which I really probably shouldn't get, but I'm thinking about where I can put them, because this is the other thing with the vegetable garden. If I am not growing so many leafy greens, because microgreens instead, that technically means I can throw that space over to livestock. So there is a possibility I may be extending things a little bit. I love cool ducks, Sarah. I really, really love them. And there were some really lovely ones at this show that I went to. However, I discovered why they're called cool ducks. Because they call. Damn, these things were loud. Really, really loud. And I'm not sure my neighbours could cope. And I live in constant fear as well, because both of my neighbours are extremely elderly. And they're lovely. And they are not at death's door, and they are not ill. But it crosses your mind with elderly people that, they might need to go into a nursing home, or they might move somewhere else. And I live in constant sort of, what if they move and I get a new family move in that just can't bear the livestock? That would be an absolute disaster. So I'm willing my neighbours to last at least another 2 or 3 years. And then when I'm gone, they can do what they want. But until then, I'm always going around to my neighbour on this side and making sure she's eaten, because she's 80 odd. She often doesn't eat. I think, you can't go anywhere. You need to be healthy and fit, and you need to stay in this house so my chickens are all safe. And Anna says, Muscovies are awesome. When we move, I want to get Muscovies to eat the slugs in the veg patch. I know, right? This is the awesome thing about ducks as well. They are such good mollusk eaters. They will go and find the invertebrates, they will go and eat your slugs and your snails, and they won't dig up your plants like chickens will. However, they will turn everything into a complete mud heap, which is why, again, I'm umming and ahhing about Muscovies, but my poultry yard, as you've seen, is actually concreted. So it's easy to be washed out and it's easy to get the mud out. So I am contemplating Muscovies, although they're quite large, but they're very quiet, which is a plus. Danielle says, where is the best place to get your birds from an auction? A poultry farm, hatchery or online sites? I would not recommend an auction, only purely down to the fact that you don't necessarily know where they've come from. You can get some great birds at auction, great prices, but chickens, as I've come to learn, can carry a whole host of diseases which aren't necessarily present until you've got them home, you've had them a few weeks, and then they can come out. So I wouldn't necessarily, for me, for instance, now I've got a flock up and running and I've got my pure breeds, I'm not buying from auctions at all. I'll sell at auctions because I know my birds are good and they're happy and they haven't got lice, they haven't got worms, they haven't got mycoplasma or anything like that. But I wouldn't buy any more in now because I would be too worried about birds getting infected. So if I were you and you want to get more birds, I would go to hatcheries where you know the person is good. There's a couple of really good online forums. I would No Bull Poultry, so no B-U-L-L as in bull, like cow. No Bull Poultry on Facebook is a fantastic group, and there's a lot of very respected chicken keepers in there that you could probably find chickens from. And if you have a certain variety that you're looking for, you could just make a post and find out who breeds those and has them, and you'll probably be able to find a really professional, respected person that you can get those chickens off. And I think the nice thing about that forum is there are lots of people ready to chime in to help you out, and there's a lot of social proof as well. And what I mean by social proof is if you ask for a certain chicken variety and somebody comments, oh, I've got those, if they're good, you will get lots of comments saying that. If they're bad or people have had bad experiences, you will get PMs saying, be careful. So that's what I really, really like about that forum, because people have your backs. So yeah, if you're looking, I wouldn't buy from auctions. You could buy from online sites, but I would go direct to source again. So I wouldn't buy off places like Gumtree or Pre-Loved or anything like that, because again, you don't know where those birds have come from. But if you go to direct source, for instance, we have the Brimwood Farm website, and in the future we'll be selling hatching eggs and birds direct from there. So you could go direct to your farm. You could buy hatching eggs off eBay. I have done that a lot. There is some risk of mycoplasma with that because you can have chicks that carry it in the egg, but it's very small risk. And that's the way that I bring in more birds, hatching eggs. But yeah, so hatching eggs from eBay, direct from source, or go and find, go on the No Bull Poultry website and ask for specific breeders, because you'll get lots of help. Ah, Sarah, yes. I think a lot of us chicken people are in there. I really do. I love it. I think it's really, really good. It's a really great group. It's child friendly. There's no swearing. There's a lot of different discussions. So there's people there that are there from the commercial side of things. There are homesteaders. There are smallholders. There are just people that keep pet chickens. I've learned a lot in there. For instance, I learned only a couple of months ago that we're not supposed to feed mealworms, dried mealworms. We are not supposed to feed dried mealworms to chickens in the UK. In fact, when I say we're not supposed to, it is illegal to. Who knew that? You go to the shop, you see all these wild bird seeds, all these dried mealworms. You think, oh, wicked, perfect chicken food. Not supposed to. Why? It's because most of them come from China. There's no regulation into what they're grown in. and there's a lot of concern that some of them are grown in like fecal waste and stuff like that, and so you're bringing them over and then you're feeding them to your chickens, and you could indirectly be putting that matter into the food chain, which is pretty damn gross if you think about it. So I can see why it's in place, but I didn't know about that. So Sarah says, oops, I didn't know. No, I didn't know about that either. How about live ones? I am honestly not sure. I need to do some more research on it. I bought live ones as food for, well, yes, so Alana's saying, what happened to your mealworm project? So my first mealworm project, I got my second generation of mealworms, and then I got mites, and the mites have all been, mites killed everything off, and then I still have a small colony. So with the whole live ones, I need to look into it. But I think you might be able to, because technically if you do, you can buy live ones, but then if you breed them yourself and you grow them on in your own medium, then you know what they've been fed on. That's my thinking on it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's legal to do that. So for now, until we know for certain, I would just not feed them any mealworms at all. And we'll just see what happens in the future. And then Danielle's just made a very good point about kitchen scraps as well. So kitchen scraps in the UK as well is also illegal to feed to kitchens. To feed to chickens. The only way you can get around that is if you're a vegan household. If you're a vegan household, i.e. you don't have meat in your house, you are allowed to feed your chickens kitchen scraps. If not, no chicken scraps. And it's all to do with, again, cross-contamination, because the mad cow disease, it got into the mad cow disease happened, it got into the cows because of cross-contamination from meat products. So what basically the government don't want you having your salad and your chicken breast from the supermarket mixing in your kitchen, and then you feed the scraps which have got bits of chicken breast on them to your chickens, and then you get your livestock infected. So no kitchen scraps to your chickens unless you're a vegan household. The way you can get around that is don't bring anything into your kitchen. So if you're growing spinach in your garden, by all means, pick some spinach, feed it to your chickens. As soon as it cross the threshold and come into your house, and where it could be cross-contaminated with meat products in your kitchen, you can't do anything about it. So I feed pak choy and spinach and all sorts of bits and pieces in the garden directly to the chickens, weeds, grass, that sort of thing. But steer clear of kitchen scraps because it could get you in trouble, basically. So Sarah says, we breed dubia roaches for our reptiles, not try breeding mealworms. I've never tried dubia roaches. I've never heard of them, in fact. But mealworms are very easy. They just eat oats. And then you can just put in pieces of apple and stuff for them to get the moisture off. But I found them really, really easy to do. Alana says, I have live mealworms for tarantulas, so the chickens get a few of those. I gave some dubias to the chickens, they went crazy for them. I'm going to have to look up these dubias, I've not come across them before. And I'm going to have to look up these regulations on mealworms as well, because if live mealworms are a possibility to feed to our chickens, that would be great. Obviously, I guess maybe you can't ship live mealworms as easily from China. I don't know. Would they survive? Probably not, actually. So maybe that's why the dried ones you definitely can't, because they've been grown over there in all sorts of unsanitary conditions. But yeah, I'm going to look it up and I will try and let people know about it, because, all these things you do in everyday life and you don't even think about it, and then you find out that you can't. And also, it's different across the world as well, because over here in the UK, we do not wash our eggs. You are not supposed to wash your eggs. You are not supposed to keep them in the fridge. Over in the US, all the eggs get washed. All the eggs get drenched in like a chemical sheath. All the eggs get popped into plastic packaging and shoved in fridges and chilled, which I just think is horrendous. But that's how it's done over there. And they probably think, you don't wash your eggs, you're gross. That's probably what they think about our eggs. But every country has different ideas about what's good and what's bad. So Sarah G buys them online and they're bred in the UK. Okay, so this is about mealworms. So Alana says she gets hers from Live's Food Direct and they're bred in the UK. And then Sarah also says they're bred in the UK. So Live Foods Direct. I'm going to look Live Foods Direct up, actually, because that would be really, really interesting. Because again, I did have a mealworm project where I was going to breed mealworms to eat myself as a protein, like a protein test. I don't particularly want to be eating mealworms, even second or third generation mealworms that have been grown in fecal matter, because that is just not nice. But if I can find some really, really sanitary ones in the UK, then I might well try that again. And I think that is also one issue why yeah, grim, proper grim. I think that's one reason why kind of the insect industry hasn't moved forward yet either. And why, you know, if you are breeding mealworm colonies at home, you are not allowed to sell them as an eating product to people because of all this stuff that's going on, and you know, it's not regulated. And the other thing is, mealworms can break down polystyrene. So, amazing that they can break down polystyrene. So, like, think of all that styrene blocking and stuff that comes in as packaging. Mealworms apparently are able to break that down. So that is, on one hand, really amazing. On the second hand, I don't particularly want to be eating mealworms that have been eating styrofoam either. So I think there needs to be strict rules about what your mealworms have been eating before you start eating them out. Check out Morio worms. I will check out Morio worms. There's all these insects that I never knew about. Morio worms, and I'm just going to scroll up and look at these dubia roaches. See, mostly in our household, we have flies, tiny, tiny crickets, and mealworms because we have dart frogs. And so anything bigger than that, we can't keep because the dart frogs can't eat them. Morio mealworms are like giant mealworms. Morio worms. Well, that would be even better then if you were eating them for human consumption. I wonder if they taste the same. Now, I haven't eaten any mealworms yet. I have been told they taste very much like peanuts, roasted peanuts. I wonder if Morio worms are similar. We may have to do a live taste test on this channel in the future with a Morio worm and a mealworm, and we may have to see which is better. I will not eat them live. I will eat them live, but I will eat them dead. If you see what I mean. I will roast them and then I will eat the dead mealworms live. And we can see what's better or what's worse or what's just plain awful. But I don't think they are awful because I've heard people go into Europe across the places like the Netherlands, Belgium, where they've had mealworm burgers and they've said it was lovely. So I think it's a future food, people. Mealworms and steroids. Yes. I'm going to look up these Morio. Actually, you know, I have my computer right in front of me. Let's just look them up. Morio worms. Do. Oh, wow. Okay, Morio worms, I can confirm, after Alana and Sarah have said, are huge. Blimey. Well, I'm going to get some. Let's have a taste test. That would be quite fun. You can eat crickets too. Yeah, you can eat all sorts. I don't know whether it's still open, but I know when I was living in London a few years back, they had a cafe open that was all insects. They did crickets, they did scorpions. Obviously, I guess they took the sting off the top. They did ants. I think ants is quite a common one. And I'm not really a cooking show kind of person, but the one cooking show I will watch is MasterChef Australia because it's amazing. But they often quite use roasted ants, dried roasted ants, and they're supposed to be really, really nice. And you just have to think of, you know, how easy it is to farm insects, how carbon neutral, or it's not completely carbon neutral, but it takes a damn sight less carbon to grow a box of mealworms than it does a field of cows. And I seriously do think in the future insects are going to become a big, big food product for humans. And a lot of, you know, I think Western society has got it into our heads that you can't eat them, but a lot of developing worlds and even some Western societies, you know, they still eat insects as a part of the course. It's a delicacy. So I think we just have to get our heads around the fact that it's crazy weird, because it's actually not crazy weird. And in some ways, I would prefer to eat, you know, a little invertebrate So I've got these Morio worms staring at me from the computer screen. I'm going to shut that. I would prefer to kind of eat a mealworm, a Morio worm or something that's got way less intelligence, awareness, perhaps, than a cow, you know, or a pig. So we'll see where the world goes, but we'll see what happens. Sarah G again says she's seen scorpion vodka lollies in Selfridges before. That has reminded me, have I got it here? Look what I have here. I forgot I had this. Scorpion, you can't see because of the flash. This is scorpion vodka, and there is a scorpion. I was given this a long time ago for a birthday present. You can see it is unopened. I have had it for years and I have never tried it. 37.5 alcoholic volume. Contains an edible farm-raised scorpion. Said to detoxify the system. Scorpion imparts smoothness in vodka. Well, there you go. So maybe when we do my the mealworm and the Morio worm tasting test, I can take it down with a shot of scorpion vodka. I'd completely forgotten I had this. How funny. But it is it does say it's edible. It contains an edible farm-raised scorpion. So there we go. But vodka lollies and Selfridges, that sounds really, really interesting. I love that this was... I'm all about the props tonight, aren't I? I've got trees, I've got cacti, microgreens, nuts, scorpion vodka. That's kind of cool. I just had it right there to hand. Yeah, it is. Well, yeah, Danielle, it is a bit freaky. And, you know, I have had that years. So obviously I am still freaked out enough not to have wanted to drink that. I did go to Russia when I was a teenager, and the family I was staying with were Ukrainian, and they drank a lot, and they had, well, like Sarah has just said with the tequila worm, yeah, they gave me a bottle of Ukrainian vodka, and it was yellow, so it wasn't like your crystal clear vodka, and damn, this stuff tastes like petrol. And again, in the bottom of that had a worm. So that was a Ukrainian vodka worm. I have drunk some of that vodka. I probably drunk half the bottle. But it is strong stuff. I can't stomach it anymore. I'm sorry, I'm too old. The days of getting drunk on Ukrainian vodka are long gone. So I doubt I will ever get to the bottom of that bottle. And I doubt I will ever get that, you know, Ukrainian vodka filled worm. I don't think I would eat it. But I may try that vodka, scorpion, and the more I think about it, the more I think I do want to do a taste test of those Morio worms, the mealworms, and then wash it down with a scorpion vodka, because that could be kind of fun to do, and fun to do live as well, because I don't quite know how I'd cope. I think I'd need a cup of tea on standby, just so I could chug it all away if it was awful. But I have the feeling that it's not awful and it might be quite nice. So maybe we can do an entire insect buffet. Candlelit dinner. I know. Candlelit dinner for one here. All of you and the many insects on my plate. And we can do a future foods piece. Crikey, it is nearly 11 o'clock already. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably close down the chat in a minute. Tea is definitely better than vodka. I totally agree, Alana. There were days when I would have said no, vodka is better, but I'm 35 now. My ability of getting over hangovers is gone. You know, once upon a time, drink to 6 a.m, get up at 8 a.m, go to uni lectures. Now, well, I was about to say drink to 6 a.m. I couldn't even drink to 6 a.m. Drink to 1 a.m, fall asleep, spend the next 5 days trying to get over it. Sarah says she's 27, tea is better. It is! Tea is way better, and I have it really strong with the tea bag in to get extra strongness. So yeah, so we are at an hour, so I'm going to wind down this chat. Thank you all so much for coming and hanging out. It's been really, really fun to get to know you guys, have a chat, have a catch up. If there are any last minute questions, throw them at me and I'll quickly answer them. But if not, I will say goodnight and we will do this all again next week. Will we do it next week? Yes, I will be around next week. I will be house sitting an extra dog, so there will be a big black Labrador in the background. And I've liked the props tonight, so I'm going to maybe do a few more props next week, and I might even get a chicken to come by as well. But good night, Sarah. Good night, Alana. Good night, Danielle. Good night, anybody else that is watching, and I'll see you all again soon. See you later. Bye.